Yes, so on the previous term we were discussing the energy in a liquid in motion. Okay, so a liquid in motion possesses three types of energies. Okay, which are pressure energy, kinetic energy and potential energy. So three types of energies are possessed by a liquid in motion. Now let's discuss one by one. Pressure energy. Okay, it is due to the difference in the pressure of the liquid at 2 points. The liquid flows from high pressure to the low pressure. So due to the pressure difference. Okay, and how it is measured? It is measured as the work done in pushing the liquid without imparting any velocity to it. Okay, so the work done without imparting any velocity to the. So for here, for this we take a container which is having a side plate fitted with a frictionless piston, movable frictionless piston, and the liquid is filled in it. Now the piston is pushed inwards to a small distance x. Okay, the piston is pushed inwards to a small distance x. The work done in pushing this liquid without imparting any velocity, no velocity will be imparted to it. This work done in pushing the liquid is the measure of the pressure energy. Now let's find out the expression of the work done, which will be the pressure energy. Okay, so work done in pushing the liquid is, we are moving it against the pressure. So work done we know is equal to force into displacement, that is F into the distance moved is x. So F into x is the work done. Now forces against the pressure. Okay, so this liquid is exerting some pressure on the piston. So it is against the pressure, which is equal to pressure into area of the piston into x. Okay, the cross-sectional area into the distance moved by the liquid is the volume of the liquid which is pushed inside. So this is equal to volume of the liquid pushed inside. Okay, so the work done is the measure of the pressure energy. Hence, the pressure energy is pressure into the volume of the liquid pushed inwards. Hence, pressure energy is P into V. Now here we will find out pressure energy per unit volume and per unit mass. Okay, because later on one theorem we will be discussing. In that theorem we will need pressure energy per unit mass and per unit volume. Okay, so pressure energy divided by volume, pressure energy divided by mass. That will find out. So pressure energy per unit volume P into V upon volume, it is equal to P only. Okay, P into V per unit volume of the liquid pushed inside is V. So then pressure energy per unit mass P into V upon mass of the liquid. Okay, we know that density is mass upon volume. So it is equal to P upon rho. P upon density, where rho is what? It is the density of the liquid. So this is equation number 1A. This is equation number 1B. Okay, so this is pressure energy per unit volume and the pressure energy per unit mass. So the first type of energy possessed by a liquid in motion is the pressure energy. Due to the difference in the pressure, the liquid flows from high pressure to the low pressure. And how is it measured? It is measured as the work done in pushing the liquid without imparting any velocity to it. So here we have found out the expression of the work done, which is P into V. So the pressure energy is the same as the work done, P into V. Now here we have found out pressure energy per unit volume and the pressure energy per unit mass. Okay, the next type of energy possessed is kinetic energy. Okay, kinetic energy is due to the motion of the liquid as the liquid is moving, so it possesses kinetic energy. kinetic energy due to the motion of the liquid. Kinetic energy is due to the motion of the liquid. Okay, where kinetic energy we know is equal to half into v square. V is the speed. Okay, the same way we are going to find out the kinetic energy per unit volume and the kinetic energy per unit mass. So kinetic energy per unit volume is half mv square upon volume. Now mass upon volume we know is density of the liquid. So this is equal to half rho into v square. Rho is the density. So this is kinetic energy per unit volume. Equation number 2a. Okay, also we will find out the kinetic energy per unit mass. Kinetic energy per unit mass half mv square upon m. So it is equal to half into v square, which is equation number 2b. So the second type of energy possessed is kinetic energy, which is due to the motion of the liquid. Okay, again we will find out kinetic energy per unit volume and per unit mass. So kinetic energy per unit volume is divided by volume, mass upon volume we know is density. So half rho v square, rho is the density. And kinetic energy per unit mass is half mv square upon m. So it is equal to half v square. Now the third type of energy possessed is the potential energy. Okay, which is due to the height above the surface of the height above from the surface of the earth. So the third type of energy, potential energy. Okay, which is due to the height above the surface of the earth. So the liquid in motion, if it is flowing at a height above the surface of the earth, it possesses potential energy. And the potential energy as we know is given by mgh. The same way we will find out potential energy per unit volume and per unit mass. Okay, so potential energy per unit volume is mass upon volume. Mass upon volume is density. So rho into g into h. Equation number 3a. Let's find out potential energy per unit mass. mgh upon m, which is equal to gh. This is equation number 3b. Okay, so note it down. Three types of energies are possessed by a liquid in motion: pressure energy, kinetic energy and potential energy. Okay, now let's find out the total energy, which is the sum of the pressure energy, kinetic energy and potential energy. Okay, here we will find out the total energy per unit volume and the total energy per unit mass. Okay, when you have to find out the total energy per unit volume, you will add all the A equations 1A plus 2A plus 3A. That you will get a total energy per unit volume. And the total energy per unit mass will be, you will add all the B equations 1B plus 2B plus 3B. So write down. The total energy per unit volume, the total energy per unit volume of the liquid is given by, add all the A equations. What is the pressure energy per unit volume? P. The kinetic energy per unit volume is half rho into V square. Plus the potential energy per unit volume is rho GH. This is the total energy per unit volume. Okay, also we can find out the total energy per unit mass of the liquid in motion, which will be pressure energy per unit mass, that is P upon rho, plus the kinetic energy per unit mass, half V square, plus the potential energy per unit mass is GH. So this is the total energy per unit volume. volume or the total energy per unit mass. Okay, so whenever a liquid is in motion, it possesses these three types of energies. So here we have found out the total energy per unit volume and the total energy per unit mass. Okay, now before discussing that theorem, Bernoulli's theorem, very important theorem. First we'll discuss equation of continuity. Okay, note it down. Now write down equation of continuity. Now first let's find out what is the equation of continuity. Okay, so equation of continuity states that when an ideal liquid, now what is an ideal liquid? The liquid which is incompressible. Okay, the liquid which is non-viscous. Such a liquid we call it as ideal liquid, non-viscous and incompressible liquid. Okay, but in practice always the liquid has some viscosity. Okay, ideal liquid here we are discussing, which is non-viscous, that is it doesn't have any viscosity, no opposing forces here, and it is incompressible, though the liquid is compressible only. Okay, so equation of continuity states that when an ideal liquid flows through a tube of non-uniform cross-sectional area, then the product of the cross-sectional area and the velocity at every point will remain constant. A into B always remains constant. A is the cross-sectional area and B is the velocity of the liquid. At every cross-section, A into B will be constant. Okay, so this is the equation of continuity which we are going to prove also. So write down. When an ideal liquid, okay, in the bracket write down what is an ideal liquid, non-viscous and incompressible. Non-viscous and incompressible. Okay, in the bracket, ideal liquid, non-viscous and incompressible liquid flows through a tube of non-uniform cross-sectional area. Flows through a tube of non-uniform cross-sectional area. Then the product of cross-sectional area and velocity, at every point remains constant. The product of cross-sectional area and velocity at every point remains constant. That is, if cross-sectional area is A, B is the velocity, A into B remains constant. A into B is constant. This is the equation of continuity. Now let's prove it. Let the liquid is flowing through a tube of non-uniform cross-sectional area. Okay, so the liquid is flowing through this tube. Okay, mass of the liquid entering per second should be equal to the mass of the liquid leaving per second. Okay, according to the conservation of mass, the mass of the liquid which enters per second should be equal to mass of the liquid leaving per second through this tube. Let it is entering at point A and leaving at point B. So, mass of liquid entering per second should be equal to mass of liquid leaving per second, leaving the tube. Okay, now we know that mass is equal to volume into density. Okay, as we know that density is mass upon volume, so mass is equal to volume into density. Okay, so volume of the liquid entering per second, volume into density of the liquid entering per second. Okay, mass I have written it as volume into density. Let when it is entering, here the volume is V1. Okay, this V1 also will write in terms of the cross section. Okay, write it here V1 and ρ1 is here. When it is leaving, let the volume of the liquid leaving is V2 and ρ2 is here. So mass of the liquid leaving per second is equal to volume at point B, which is V2 into ρ2 per second. Okay, now volume of the liquid which is entering per second. If the cross-sectional area here is A1, where it is entering, let the cross-sectional area here is A1, here the cross-sectional area is A2. Okay, so volume of the liquid entering is A1 into, let it has moved through x1 distance per second. Or per unit time you can write down second per second is per unit time into ρ1 should be equal to volume again when it is leaving is cross sectional area A2 into x2 per second into ρ2. Okay, now what is this quantity? The distance moved by the liquid when it is entering at point A per second per unit time is the velocity of the liquid. Okay, distance per unit time, what is it? It is the speed or the velocity. So it is equal to A1 V1 into ρ1 is equal to A2 V2 into ρ2. Okay, very simple. Mass of the liquid entering per second, volume into density per second. Volume is cross-sectional area into the distance moved by the liquid. Distance moved per second is the velocity. Okay, now here we have assumed that the liquid is ideal, that is it is incompressible. So ρ1 is equal to ρ2. So ρ1 is equal to ρ2. So write down as the liquid is incompressible, so ρ1 is equal to ρ2. Okay, why it is equal? Because the liquid we have assumed is ideal liquid which is incompressible. Okay, so the density here also will remain the same. Okay, as it is incompressible. So what do we get? A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2. That is A into V is constant. This is the equation of continuity and hence we have proved the equation of continuity. That is when an ideal liquid is flowing through a non-uniform cross-sectional tube, that at every section, at every point, the product of cross-sectional area into velocity is constant. Okay, so here cross-sectional area we are represented by capital A, small a, anything we can represent. So capital A into V is constant. Okay, cross-sectional area into velocity is constant. How we have proved? Mass of the liquid entering per second, mass of the liquid leaving per second, mass is volume into density. Volume is cross-sectional area into distance moved per second means per unit time. Distance per unit time is the velocity A1, V1, ρ1. Now the liquid is incompressible, so ρ1 is equal to ρ2. So A1, V1 is equal to A2, V2. That is A into V remains constant. Okay, now what is this constant equals to? Because in the theorem we have to use this. What is this constant equal to? Here A1 V1 into ρ1 is what? Mass. Okay, upon density, what does it become? This constant is volume of the liquid. This constant is what? Volume of the liquid. So what is this? Here the constant AB is constant. And write down the constant is volume of the liquid. Okay, because this is mass, rho we have divided, mass per unit density, that becomes the volume. So write down the constant is volume of the liquid flowing through the tube. Constant is volume of the liquid flowing through the tube. Okay, so this constant is volume of the liquid flowing through the tube. Volume of the liquid flowing per second through the tube is this constant. Okay, so what is the equation of continuity? A into B remains constant. Cross-sectional area into the velocity remains constant. This is the equation of continuity. Okay. Now we come to a very important theorem, Bernoulli's theorem of the Bernoulli's equation, which was given by Bernoulli. Okay, and it is based on conservation of energy. It's based on conservation of energy. So write the heading Bernoulli's equation. Bernoulli's equation. Write down. It states that when an ideal liquid flows through a tube of non-uniform cross-sectional area, then the total energy per unit volume or total energy per unit mass remains constant. Write down. It is based on conservation of energy. Okay, now let's write the Bernoulli's equation. We already know what is the total energy per unit volume, total energy per unit mass. Okay, so the total energy per unit volume is constant. Okay, what is the total energy per unit volume? We have already discussed. T plus half rho V square plus rho VH is constant. Okay, or it can also be stated as the total energy per unit mass remains constant. Now, what is the total energy per unit mass? P upon rho plus half V square plus V into H is constant. So this is the Bernoulli's equation, which is based on conservation of energy. Either you can state like this or this. Both are correct. The total energy per unit. If you divide, again the density is constant. Which liquid is that? Ideal liquid. Ideal liquid means the density is constant. It is incompressible. Density remains constant. So divide this whole equation by rho. You get this equation. Okay, rho is constant only. So the total energy per unit mass remains constant, or the total energy per unit volume is constant. Now let us prove this equation. Okay, now the proof of the equation. So Bernoulli's equation of the Bernoulli's theorem, it states that whenever an ideal liquid is flowing through a tube of non-uniform cross-sectional area, then the total energy per unit mass or the total energy per unit volume remains constant. So this is the equation for total energy per unit volume. This is the equation for total energy per unit mass, which we have already taken. Okay, now the proof of this theorem. Okay, for this we consider the liquid flowing through a tube of non-uniform cross-sectional area. The liquid is flowing through a tube. As you can see that the cross-sectional area is non-uniform, it is not uniform. Okay, let at this point the cross-sectional area is A1. Here the cross-sectional area is A2. When the liquid is entering the tube, then its velocity is V1. leaving, let the velocity is V2. Liquid flows from high pressure to the low pressure. So here the pressure is E1, here the pressure is E2. Okay, but the density will remain constant. Okay, we have considered to be an ideal liquid, its density does not change. Okay, so the density remains constant. So these are the terms when the liquid is entering at point A. And this is the point A, this is the point B. Okay, let the height of this tube above the ground is h1 over here. Here the height let it is equal to h2. Okay, first we'll find out the net work done in moving the liquid from A to B. This is the point A, this is the point B. Liquid is entering at point A, leaving at point B. So the net work done in moving from A to B. Okay. So the work done at point A, work done by the liquid at point A. Okay, again work done. Work done per second. In 1 second, how much work is done? Okay. At point A, we know that work done is force into distance. Force here is, let it is equal to F1. F1 is equal to pressure into area. So P1 into A1. Pressure into area. And let the distance moved is x1 per second. That is per unit time. So it is equal to P1 A1 into P2. The same way work done per second at point B. Now the work will be done by the liquid at point B will be equal to P2 A2 into H2 upon V, which is V2. Okay, net work done by the liquid. Net work done is equal to this minus this. Okay, this is the work done of the liquid, this is the work done by the liquid. So the net work done is equal to P1 A1 V1 minus P2 A2 V2. Okay, now here we will use the equation of continuity. According to equation of continuity, A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2. That is A1 V1 AB is constant and this constant is equal to volume of the liquid flowing per second. Let it is equal to capital V. Volume of the liquid flowing per second is V. So A1 V1 can also be substituted as V. A2 V2 can also be substituted as V. So the net work done is equal to the net work done by the liquid is equal to P1 into V minus P2 into V. This is equation number 1. This is equation number 1. Now let's see that kinetic energy also changes, potential energy also changes. So this net work done will be equal to the change in the kinetic energy plus the change in the potential energy. This is the conservation of energy. Okay, so the net work done changes the energy of the liquid, changes its kinetic energy and changes its potential energy. So here we'll find out the change in the kinetic energy and the change in the potential energy. Okay, so at this point, what is the increase in kinetic energy? Okay, kinetic energy A into B is constant. So if the cross-sectional area is more, the velocity will be less. Cross-sectional area less, the velocity will be more. So V2 is more than V1. Cross-sectional area less, as you can see in the figure. So the velocity will be more. So where will be the kinetic energy more? At point B. At point A, it will be less. So what is the increase in kinetic energy? Half m V V2 square minus half m into V1 square is the increase in the kinetic energy. Equation number 2. Okay, now potential energy. Moving from A to B, again the potential energy increases. Why it increases? Because the height here at point B is more. So there is some increase in potential energy also. What is the increase in potential energy? Is mgh2 minus mgh1. This is equation number 3. The increase in potential energy is mgh2 minus mgh1. Okay, now according to conservation of energy, this net work done should be equal to the increase in potential energy plus the increase in kinetic energy. So write down. According to conservation of energy, equation 1 is equal to equation 2 plus equation number 3. The net work done by the liquid should be equal to the increase in the kinetic energy and the plus the increase in the potential energy. Okay, so this net work done increases the kinetic and the potential energy of the liquid. Okay, note it down. Okay, then we'll equate all this and we'll derive the Bernoulli's equation. The equation should be the same. What we have already written, the total energy per unit mass or the total energy per unit volume remains constant. Okay, note it down. And you will try to derive this equation yourself. You know the equation. What is the equation? You will derive it. Equation 1 is equal to equation number 2 plus 3. Otherwise, we will continue tomorrow. Okay, then there are some limitations and applications of Bernoulli's equation.